Hi, ladies. Okay, so thank you for your emails. It seems like everyone wants these two problems on page 8 the same. I am going to start the problems, but I'm actually not going to do the whole thing. They're very similar to the ones that I did yesterday in yesterday's video. So I'll start them here with you, and then I suggest that you go back to yesterday's video and really take your time and look through it, pause it, try to do it step by step. Always email me the questions. So I'm on page 8 and I'm just looking at number 2. Graph a line that has a slope of -1 and goes to the point -1, 4. So just like the other day, yesterday actually, what you'll do is you're going to start with the point. So this is what you're going to plot first. So -1, 4. So -1 is your x, 4 is your y. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to start with this point right here. Okay, that's -1, 4. My slope is telling me how I'm going to move. Remember, to move, it's rise over run. When you rise, you're either going up or you're going down. If the slope is positive, then you're going up. If the slope is negative, it's going down. And you always run to the right. Since -1 is negative, you know your rise is going down because it's negative. Think of -1 as -1 over that invisible -1 we don't see. Remember, every whole number is actually a fraction that's over 1 that we don't see. So in this case, you're going to go down by -1 and you're going to go to the right to the 1. So I'm just going to do the first one. So I'm going back to the point that I'm starting at. I'm going to go down 1 and then I'm going to go to the right 1. That's my next point right there. Right? And then you do it again. Down 1 over 1. And then you keep going. Okay? That is from that. And then from there, you'll be able to identify what is your m, which we already know is -1, and what is the b. And in this case, the b we know is 3, right? That's where it crosses the the y-axis. And then when you make your equation, mx plus b, it's y equals -1x plus 3. Okay? But don't forget to graph. That's really important, right? You need to be practicing your graphing. All right, so that's number 2. Let's go down. People ask about 3 and 5. 5, you'll end up with a negative. In either of these cases, 3 or 5, the whole point is that you want to get it in y equals mx plus b form. In this case here, you just have to divide everything by 2, right? What's happening to what's happening to y? It's being multiplied by 2, so you're going to divide everything by 2. And then you'll have your equation there. Right? This is nice because they're all even numbers, so they're all multiples of 2, so you'll get no fraction in number 3. Number 5, there's 2 steps here. See? The first thing that's happening to y is being multiplied by -5, and then add by 3x. So you have to minus 3x on both sides first. So -5y equals -3x, excuse me, plus 15. Then you have to divide everything by -5. Okay? This will cross out. You'll have y equals a negative divided by negative will give you a positive plus -3. Or if you wrote just -3, that's fine. This is the equation that you're going to use to graph over here. Okay, you're going to start, your b is -3, And then your slope is right here, 3 over 5. So again, you're going, in this case, you're going to rise 3, and then you're going to run 5. All right? And then just start with your y-intercept. Okay, so that's those two. Now let's look at today. So it's day 4, more graphing and writing equations of lines. Still practicing the same skills. So let's recall. In order to graph write the equation of a diagonal line, you need to know what two things? Well, you're always going to need to know the slope, which is m, and you always need to know the y-intercept, which is b. Okay? What if you don't know both? That's a great question. What if you don't know either? Well, there are two different types of scenarios. One is if you're given the slope and a coordinate on the line, but not the y-intercept, you could graph the y-intercept and then use the slope. Well, sorry, I just read this. Sorry to myself. I should have read it out loud. You could plug in the m, x, and b into the y-intercept in order to solve for b, right? That's a way for you to do it. Also, if you get the point, just like we just did in that example for number 2, you could plot the point and then use the slope to go to the other points. And eventually you'll be able to find the y-intercept once you graph it. Okay, I probably should have worded that differently. The other scenario is if you're given 2 points, we'll use the 2 points to graph the line and observe the slope and the y-intercept. You could always use the average rate of change formula. If you girls remember that. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1 to calculate the slope, and then use the same thing in scenario 1. Okay, so those are 2 different things that you could do. So obviously today you're going to see a bunch of these examples. So let's see which one we should do. Which one looks weird? Actually, let's do 3 and 4, because 1 and 2 is not as difficult as 3 and 4. And then 3 or 4 will help you do 5. Alright, so let's turn to page 10. And we're going to look at 3 and 4. So let's look at 3 first. So it says algebraically. So anytime you see the word algebraically, they are wanting you to show your work. Okay? They want you to try it out. They don't want you to go onto your calculator and do the work. They actually want you to show your work. Determine the equation of the line that passes through the points -4, 3 and -4, -5. Then graph the line. So you're given 2 points. So if you're looking at page 9, that's the scenario number 2. Well, you could use your slope your slope formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, okay, to find the slope. So here, I'm just going to use the first one as my y2. Remember, there's no right or wrong choice here. -4 minus -4. Alright, so I have my calculator. And when I do this, I'm going to get 8 over 0. When every time something is being divided by 0, right? When you have 0 in your  this means that it is undefined. Okay, we can't divide anything by 0. It doesn't make any sense. So this is actually undefined. Well, when the slope is undefined, right, that's actually a vertical line, vux. Okay, and the equation is x equals. Remember, if you go back to 2 days ago, this is telling you what the equation is. Okay, this is telling you about the slope. And this is telling you the type of line. Type of line. So I know I'm going to have a vertical line. The slope is undefined. And the equation will be x equals. So if I were going to if I look at the equation, x equals, I'm only looking at the x. And if you notice here, the x in both these points are -4. So the actual equation is x equals -4. That is the equation. If you were to graph it, you're just going to go to -4 on the x-axis, and you're making a vertical line. So that's a line that's going up and down. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's that right there. And that's a horrible line. Sorry, your line will look a lot nicer than mine. Okay? That's the line right there. My line is disgusting. Do not draw a line like that. I'm going to erase it. That was embarrassing. Okay. 1, 2, 3. And here I go. Now I took my nice time. I didn't rush. Okay. Way better. Alright. So that's number 3. Now let's go down and look at number 4. So again, I'll erase this part right here. Okay, again, they want us to look at something algebraically, so I'm going to show my work. It goes to a slope of 0. It has a slope of 0 and goes to little points, -2, -5. So now they're giving me the slope and a point. Well, I could just kind of plug this into my equation. Y equals mx plus b. Right? And my x, I'm going to use the point right here. So -5 equals my m, which is right here. Let me use a different color. Which is right here. So, and then the x is -2. And I don't know what b is, so plus b. So, -5 equals 0 times -2 is 0 plus b. -5 equals b. That's actually my y-intercept. And here, when something has a slope of 0, that's actually y. Okay, so this is telling me my equation will be y equals the slope, which is 0, and the line type. Okay, so that's horizontal. So actually here my equation is y equals -5. So now that means I'm going to go to the y-axis to -5. That's right here. I'm going to make a horizontal line. Right, and that is my line right there. For number 5, just read each scenario. It's telling you whether something has undefined slope or a slope. And based on that, you should know whether it's a vux or a hoy, and what your you could be able to write the equation of line, whether it's x equals or y equals. Use the notes from the other day. That's day 2 when we talk about line types. And then you could be able to go back to numbers, 1 and 2. 1 and 2 is very similar to 3 and 4. However, 1 and 2, you're going to get diagonal lines. You're not going to get a straight line. All right, have a great night.